This is Will Smith from Artificial Brain.
This is Lila from Defeated Sanity.
Hi, I'm Arrow, the guitarist of Purest of Pain.
This is Tyler from Begat the Nephilim.
This is Ben from Goat Whore, and you're listening to the Great Metal Debate Podcast.
Headbangers and moshers, gather around. The podcast is back with another metal artist interview. I'm here with Batu from Molested Divinity. Thank you so much for coming on the Great Metal Debate.
Thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you.
So we're here at Chicago Domination Fest 2019. This is just one of your U.S. tour with your New Standard Elite label mates in Cerebral Effusion and Indecent Excision and Depulsed. How did that tour come together?
We signed last year with New Standard Elite for the new album, and those guys offered us 1 year before this tour, and we accepted all, of course, and 1 year preparation, booking shows, all the stuff they made. Then we just needed to take visas to come here. We took the visas, then we are here. But our original drummer couldn't make it because he got rejected from U.S. embassy because of his visa and age. And we took Cedric from Putridity from Italy. He is drumming with us. So we are here and happy to be here.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you. So what's been the response live on this tour so far? Are you more surprised when established fans who know about you come up and say hello, or is it more about the folks who haven't heard you but are excited seeing you for the first time?
Both happened. The fans which knows us and following us from our webpage and from our albums, they came to shows. We played 3 shows at Texas, and 1 show was at Laredo near the Mexican border. And we met there. In all shows we met with new fans and the fans who are following us before through our pages, and a lot of Facebook friends I saw live in USA. So the reactions was good. Everyone was happy that we are here and they able to watch us live. So it was.
And it seems like a good match, these label mates that you have on tour with you. There's something to be said sometimes for having musicians from radically different genres, but when someone comes to one of these shows, they know exactly what they are going to expect, which is some brutal death metal.
Exactly. New Standard Elite focus only on brutal death metal, and their roster is only brutal death metal, mostly. And those bands, Cerebral Effusion, Indecent Excision, and Depulsed, our favorite bands also. We love their music. And all 4 bands into brutal death metal. So we like this kind of brutal packages. There is no soft bands in this package. Yeah.
And out on the road with them, has it been a good match in that way? Because obviously you spend more time off the stage and outside the venue than you do in.
In our caravan trailer, we traveled long distances, and after the show we are making jokes, listening music in car, and talking about music and bands. We were like family, friends became in this tour. So we are also happy about it.
That's something that's always interesting to me, that people from different backgrounds, different geographic locations, music is the thing that can unite them and kind of go across those bridges, build those bridges.
Exactly. Brutal death metal or death metal has no borders. It doesn't matter from which country or which language we are talking. We all like the same type of music. When we are also playing this and touring with those guys, and all run smooth and perfect.
Now, for folks who aren't familiar with the band, can you give us a brief history of how Molested Divinity originated?
I am normally originally from Cenotaph from Turkey. I am doing vocals, and the Molested Divinity guitar player is from Decimation. Both bands from Ankara, Turkey, and we decided one day, about 2 years before, to form the most fast and brutal music, like every band's aim. So we start jamming at studio. There was no serious songs writing, or we just jam. And one day, one of our friends came to studio and filmed one of our rehearsal, and he put it in YouTube. And after this video, YouTube video, 5-6 labels wrote us at the same day. They wanted to sign, but at those times we have only one song, just half of it we were jamming. Then we got offer from South Korea, Korean label. We decided to work with South Korean label this time. Before we worked with American labels, Severed, Comatose. This time we choose Show No Mercy Records from South Korea, and he made a good offer about studio recordings and merchandise and CD. So we signed with him and recorded the first album, Desolated Realms Through Iniquity. It released 2 years before. When we return from this tour on September, we will record the new one for New Standard Edit debut. Yeah.
Now, I think you're the first Turkish band that we've had on the podcast. What is the metal scene like in Turkey as far as fans and also venues that are open to playing extreme music?
This question I am getting a lot from the people from USA. How was the scene? The scene in Turkey is really getting every day bigger. In our local shows, 200, 300 people show up and coming. And bands like Defeated Sanity, Cranium, Avulst, such bands came. We have 3 big cities into metal. We are from Ankara, is a capital. Istanbul is a metropole, 20 million people living there. And Izmir. Istanbul is more into old school death metal and black metal stuffs. Ankara is more death metal and brutal death city. Izmir, thrash, black mix, hardcore. But we have also some festivals in Turkey happening once a year or 2 times a year. Big names like Cannibal Corpse played, Obituary played, Slayer came twice. For the people who are not familiar with our scene, they can check in YouTube Turkish death metal scene. I can say you some bands: Decaying Purity from Istanbul, Karnofaj from Ankara, Decimation, Drain of Impurity. We have bands that release labels from albums from American labels. People who are into underground brutal death metal knows most of them. Yeah.
Well, you just gave me a new list of bands to start listening to, so you've given me some homework after this interview. If you don't mind talking about yourself personally, how did you get into music, and have you received any formal training?
Like every metalhead, I started when I was 11 years old. I mean, start to listen music, bands like Iron Maiden, Metallica, Slayer. And through high school years, I always search. I mean, thrash era, that thrash era, Sepultura, Creator, Destruction, such bands. Then I met with death metal when I was 15 years old. The first band I listened was Autopsy, and I fucking shocked. Then Cannibal Corpse, Suffocation, all followed. Then when I was 17 years old, before graduation from high school, I formed Cenotaph. We play brutal death metal since 25 years. The band is still active. We made Europe tour with last month with Gorgasm, Abnormality from the USA. I just returned from this Euro tour and make this 2 weeks US tour. So with Molested and Cenotaph, my 2 main bands. I have some other solo project. I have a one-man band, Drain of Impurity. It's also brutal death metal. Grotesque Ceremonium I have, it's old school in the vein of Autopsy, Incantation. This is also a live band. I am making guitar vocal in this band. In other bands I am only vocals. So I am busy with extreme music.
You have a lot of projects going. That's awesome. Well, I want to go back. You mentioned earlier your first full-length album for Molested, Desolated Realms Through Iniquity, released in 2018. With a little time passed and looking back on that album, how pleased are you both as an artist and then also the reception it received?
This album, I can say, was explosion in brutal death metal scene. Everyone welcomed this album very positive ways. They like it. Some people wrote 2018 the best album of the year, something like this. We really appreciate such comments. And I am still happy about the songs and the production wise. Still strong album. I can't say anything bad about this album. It's sold out now. I hope the labels negotiate each other and license it for USA too, for vinyl or CD repress versions, because in this tour we couldn't brought any CD because it was sold out. We tried to say to Korean label to send CDs over here for the tour, but it also not happened. In this tour we only sell merchandise, not CD. Sorry about it. Hope next time they do its repress of the Desolated Realms album. And the new one, we wrote 8 new songs. Guitar tracks are ready, bass, drum, and when we return September, we will record the drums and vocals, then mix and mastering steps. So early 2020, I think it will release from a new standard edit.
Given the response to that debut album, does that put some pressure on you as far as upping your game to take it to another level for this sophomore release?
Of course, first album, my opinion is great. It put pressure, of course, on us. But the new songs also strong. In my opinion, they are more stronger, and we will be a little bit more faster in new album, I think.
As someone who has spent many, many years in extreme metal bands, kind of what is your thought about the scene? Can you ever see a point where the extreme metal genres maybe not overtake, but begin to stand shoulder to shoulder with the more traditional styles of metal, like power metal and the melodic styles? Do you think that will ever happen, at least in our lifetimes?
If you mean in extreme music or brutal death metal, the brutal death metal listeners are a little bit picky. I mean, they prefer to listen only brutal death or extreme type of musics. But I know a lot of people who enjoyed also the most brutal bands, also, like you said, power metal or rock. It depends on, I think, the people's music taste and choice. I can't judge anyone. You have to listen only brutal death or other genres. We are living in 2020 and internet time. Everyone is listening a lot of albums, a lot of releases coming every day, every week. It's hard to follow the scene now. But before, I remember when I was 17, we set the shows in Ankara. Punk bands, hardcore bands, death metal bands, thrash bands, all play in the same concerts. Before was not much genre fanatism, but now black metal guys only listen black metal, death metal guys only listen death metal. It's my opinion. I listen what I like. It doesn't matter which type of music. It can be classical music. It can be even pop music. If I like it, I don't care what people think about it. As long as if you feel something in music, it's all about feelings. I think music. That's how I think.
And it'll be interesting to see in 20 more years how people look back on that. And it seems like there's always, over time, more acceptance of different styles.
Yeah. Different styles music. I listen a lot of type music. I am not close-minded. As long as I like and get inspiration from any other music style, you can get also inspiration. I can say the last few years, brutal death metal is became a little bit monotone. I mean, I don't want to say boring, but most bands are doing always repeating themselves. Nothing new, original things are coming. I try to follow original stuff. As I said, every day, every week, new albums or demos releasing. It's impossible to follow all of them, but the originals ones I try to pick. Yeah.
That's a good plan. Well, finally this evening, what is the best way for fans to purchase music and merchandise from Molested Divinity, including your debut album? What you talked about that earlier, which you already talked about that. But how can they support the band?
If they want to support, we have Bandcamp, Molested Divinity Bandcamp page. Also, we are in digital platforms like iTunes, this kind of where the digital music is selling. They can purchase not the CDs right now because they are sold out. When we repress, of course, they can order. And it will be more easier for the US fans to purchase our new album because we signed with Daniel New Standard Elite, the American label, so it will be easier because it's also difficult for us get orders pack sent. Some of them are get lost in post, again sent, old school style trading, sending postage orders. So they can follow us from Bandcamp pages and digital platforms. We are also online. Awesome. Facebook web page, Molested Divinity Facebook. Also, they can directly write to Show No Mercy Records, or there are several distributors around distributing still our CDs and merchandise.
I'm sure folks will do that, and Batu, I so appreciate you taking the time to speak with us, and I'm looking forward to, in a few minutes here, being down front near the stage while you destroy my neck with some brutal death metal.
Hell yeah, thank you so much for support and interview and interest on Molested Divinity. I hope you guys like the new one too, which will come out next year. Follow us through our Facebook and Bandcamp pages. Thank you so much for supporting.